Touchdown, Patriots!
The Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cybereason, with Hardy, Mike Dussault, and Paul Perillo, is your source for all the news and information following every Patriots game.
And the Patriots have won their 6th Super Bowl title. In the early 2000s, they won 3 of 4. Now they have won 3 of the last 5. Yes, it's still a dynasty.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email this show at webradio@patriots.com.
I hope y'all keep that same energy for tonight, baby. Can't wait.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Slipping and sliding, he was like a cat. Pop, pop,
Yep.
bang. Welcome into the Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cybereason. The Patriots move to 7-4 on the season. They kick off NFL Week 11 with a shutout in Atlanta. Nice town, Atlanta. 25-0, your final tonight. I mean,
Has there ever been a 25-0 game before? That's what I want to know. It's such a random score.
that's a good one. There's a couple of interesting little things just popping up here. Well, we're going to be 99% Patriots tonight, but just one Falcons note from Albert Breer. 11 days ago, the Falcons got to 500. Since then, they have been outscored 68-3. That is a sobering moment for Falcons fans.
Yeah, I mean it's a bad team, and you saw why tonight. You know, they did a lot of things to beat themselves.
And I'll tell you what, there are a lot of things to be said about the way the Patriots played tonight, mostly defensively, but there's a lot to look at, too, with the overall performance from the team. So we're going to get right into it with you. We invite you to join us, 855-PATS-500. Email the show, webradio@patriots.com. Hardy, Mike Dussault, Paul Perillo. We'll start with your opening thoughts on the game. Please, Paul, if you would.
My opening thoughts were it's pretty much the kind of game that a lot of us talked about. It's tough to play these Thursday night games, especially on the road. I think as you get later in the season, as we are now, it becomes even more difficult. You saw a lot of bad football tonight on both sides, but mostly on Atlanta's side. And the thing that I come away with, from the Patriots' perspective, 5 in a row now, still undefeated on the road, is that old thing that they always could rely on of waiting around for the other team to do something stupid is back in play. I think that they've done that consistently now for a month. And, when they've needed plays, they've been able to get them, whether, what did you, Mike, all 4 picks tonight in the fourth quarter,
Yep.
So just that, I don't care how it had to happen tonight. You had to come away with a win. Patriots were never in trouble in this game, even though they didn't play particularly well, on offense. The defense continues to dominate, and you just keep checking them off and moving on to the next one.
Yep. Yeah, I thought the offense did enough. I think there were some nice runs from Harris and Stevenson. Just not the same success they had on third down last week. That was, more of a grind on third down, and definitely not Mac's best game through the air of the season. But as usual, I think he did enough and overcame kind of the mistakes. And when he did make the one interception, or when they had to punt a few times, the defense was able to step up and get off the field. And the defense. I mean, I don't want to brag, but I got all my picks right. I mean, it's just kind of how I thought the game might go, where offense, a little bit of a grind, and defensively they stepped up and just didn't allow any of the nonsense to trickle over up onto the scoreboard. So some nice games. Kyle Van Noy thought showing up a lot. Again, Judon, Barmore, those guys, continue to do it. Not overall the best game, but it doesn't really matter. It's a Thursday night game. You got the win. It doesn't look like anybody got hurt. You got a little bit of an extended break, and now you're looking at this 4-game stretch, or really if you just want to digest the first 2 games of Tennessee here and then Buffalo on Monday Night Football. So 2 big games coming up. They got a little bit of time to regroup, and if they're healthy, they got out of this one. I think it's another nice win, and congratulations, 5 straight. It's impressive anyway you kind of cut it up.
I think it says a lot about Mike Dussault in that in his opening thoughts, he mentions that he got all of his picks right.
That's the first time ever. I'm having a rough year in my picks.
He immediately makes it about himself, which is
little
That's right.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Especially when it was 6 yards away from me being 6-0.
Right, and
that was the difference, right? 5-1.
That's right. Wow. Well
Hunter
done.
Henry had 25 yards, and we needed him to have 31.
Yeah, I had a bad week on the over-unders.
No, you
but
were 3-3.
I thought it was 2-4.
Oh no, yeah, you were 2-4.
Yeah, see?
Morel, you're really waiting.
I don't know. Maybe Matt should be checking your totals there, Mr. Perillo.
We're going to get to the good, the bad, and the training room here, but I mean, I would echo everything that you guys just said, and seemed like it was not quite a case of just waiting out the other team's mistakes, because Atlanta made so many of them. Oftentimes, they didn't have to wait. Sometimes the mistakes were presented, earlier than other times when they had the ball or when they were on defense. So it was I think in many ways a typical Thursday night game. Not earlier this season. We saw some good Thursday night contests from the NFL, but you get teams 10 weeks into the season now. They're starting to get banged up. They're starting, just the length of the season is starting to wear on them at this point. You bring them off of just a couple days rest, not a lot of time to put a game plan in, and you get a game like that tonight. But for Patriots fans, it's fantastic. It's a shutout on the road. It puts your team at 7-4 in the season, a 5th straight win for the Patriots. So a lot to celebrate in the actual result, and I think a lot to celebrate defensively. As for the rest of it, let's get to it now.
It is what it is.
Yeah, we'll get to it now with the good, the bad, and the training room. Presented by Theragun.
Now it's time for the good.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
The bad.
If you were in my toilet bowl, I wouldn't bother flushing it.
And the training room.
You want a back rub?
Presented by Theragun.
Good, the bad, and the training room. Presented by Theragun. And might I just add the Theragun Mini, which is delightful. More on that in a moment, but we'll start with the goods. We'll start with you, Paul. What was your first good tonight?
My first good tonight is Kyle Duggar, who I thought may have had his best game as a Patriot.
Really
I thought
good.
he was really active in this game, really physical. Terrific pass defense on the first third down of the game on Kyle Pitts. On a slant route that it looked like he had a step, and Matt Ryan's throw was a little behind him, and Duggar made a great play after that. Couple of really nice tackles in the open field, one-on-one. Not really any yards after the catch available for the Falcons. I don't know what I can look up the specific numbers that he finished with here. Yeah, 6 tackles and a pass defense, and also a special teams tackle. So nothing that's going to jump off the page at you. But I thought he was really good tonight, especially in the first half.
Yeah, physical. I mean, pass break up there on that first third down. It seems like he's kind of coming into his own. I think he's getting more comfortable in the defense and, just making plays. I've always liked his physicality, but he just seems now he's getting in the right place.
Excellent. All right, Duggar, first up. Who you have on your list there?
I'm going to kind of do guys, call it the two-headed monster, I guess, Stevenson and Harris. Just the two guys. I thought they were, both had some big carries, 21 yards for 21 yards for Stevenson, Harris 17. Those both came in the first half, but not a lot going in the passing game today. It was, especially as I mentioned on third down. But I thought those two guys kind of provided the spark. And at the end, were able to pick up some key yards. It definitely wasn't the juggernaut machine that we saw last week where, they were just every third down was money. They were able to just run down, get touchdown. I mean, they got held up in the red zone. But I thought that those two guys really, carried kind of the load on the day and picked up some hard yards. Again, very encouraged by what you see from Stevenson. But, Stevenson, 5.8 yards average. Harris, 5.6. Stevenson had 12 carries. Harris had 10. So it was a nice balanced effort from those two guys. And I think as we get into this cold weather, that's what you want. You want two guys that you can rely on that, they're similar, but I think they're a little bit different. Harris might be, maybe a little faster in the open field and Stevenson's just a load to bring down and seems to always pick up yards after contact. So it's a nice little balance they got from those running backs, and I hope that they can continue that because it's, huge in a game like this where, you don't really have everything clicking quite right, and those guys were able to get it going.
Yeah, offensively it might be a little light tonight on the good list, but those two guys definitely belong at the top.
Sorry if I took up two. I could
No. I was thinking about doing the same thing because Paul had pointed out at one point in the game. I think Stevenson had 2 fewer carries, but both Stevenson and Harris were sitting at 56 yards at one point. It was a great tandem attack using those two guys tonight. I'll go back to the other side of the ball defensively. I thought Kyle Van Noy had a really good game tonight.
Good one.
I mean, the interception at the end, which was, a nice moment, and that was fun. But He was very active. I think he
had two
gets
sacks,
Two
right?
sacks, two tackle for loss,
two of the
a
4
pass
sacks.
defense, 2 QB hits, and obviously a touchdown. I mean, it led the team with 8 total tackles.
And I
Before
just
we get too lost in all of that, that's all the same. The 2 sacks, tackles for loss, and quarterback hits.
Okay.
There's not 6
those-
plays, it's 2.
right, but
But he had a really good game tonight.
he had a really good game, especially for a guy who we pointed out at points earlier in this season was just largely
Not making plays. Not making
mentionable.
plays like he was.
Yeah,
tonight.
worthy of mention, and certainly nothing extraordinary. There was some extraordinary plays that he was responsible for tonight, and sure, the game was over at that point. But I don't know why Atlanta kept throwing the ball and throwing quarterbacks in there to go out there and try and make something happen. Paul pointed out something I thought was pretty good. It's like, well, I wonder why the starters are still playing for the Patriots defense at that point. But
Well, I was a little annoyed. Well, we'll get to that in the bad. But I was a little annoyed that Mac Jones took in my mind, a very unnecessary hit on a quarterback sneak that I don't really feel like they needed to be doing. But hopefully didn't get dinged up on that at all.
But we have Stevenson and Harris. We have Kyle Duggar, which was first up on Paul's list. We have Kyle Van Noy. Who else you got, Paul?
I'm going to go to Christian Barmore, who I thought, again, especially early in the game, was just completely collapsing the pocket all over the place. Again, not stats that are going to jump off the page at you, but I thought he affected Matt Ryan on a couple of throws that were there. They had some opportunities to make plays, and he had to get rid of the ball before he wanted to. There was that one that he kind of slid to the left, and then you saw the replay that Troy Aikman pointed out later, and the Patriots defenders had collided and left Pitts basically. That might have been a touchdown, let alone, I mean, it would have been a big play at the very minimum. But, the constant pressure, the collapsing of the pocket on the inside by Barmore prevented it.
We got Barmore. Who else you got there, Deuce?
I got Adrian Phillips. Fourth down stop, got back there. I think that was, I think they had some good plays in the red zone there, and that was a big one on the 4th down when it felt like, Atlanta was making a little bit of a push. It was still, I think, just 13-0 at that point.
Oh, yeah, that was a huge play.
So big play, had the interception, obviously, as well. He just continues to – I think he's more complimented this year. Last year it felt like he was doing a lot and he had to do a lot, and this year it feels like he can kind of focus on some specific things, and he's not quite stretched so thin. So I really like what they're doing, and I think part of that is attributed to Duggar, to McCourty, who also had an interception. I think those safeties are really starting to play well together. We saw for many years 3 safeties, were able to really solidify the back end of the defense, and I think that's what you're seeing now with the development of Duggar, with Phillips, and of course McCourty on the back end.
Well, I held off as long as I can, but I can't hold off anymore.
We saved him for you.
Nick Folk, the missed extra point at the end was unfortunate, but otherwise, in a game that was mostly field goals, he kicked them all. So
best offensive player of the game. Again, I mean, you needed to find ways to get points on the board, and your guy did it, Hardy.
Yeah. Because that's what he does. All the guy does is kick field goals and make them. 4 for 4. He had a long of 53 yards tonight. 1 for 2 on the extra points. But Nick Folk certainly belongs on the good list.
Yes, sir.
Who else you got, Paul?
Did you mention, I know when you were talking about Adrian Phillips, you mentioned some other guys, but I thought Devin McCourty was really good in this game too. There was a pass defense that he made early in this game that was a play, and Hardy, I think you said while we were watching, maybe a month ago, he was a step late on that play against Houston, as an example. Month and a half ago, maybe now. He was the center fielder over the top. He's providing the help, and they needed it. And he came over and got in the way. I think it was Zacchaeus that was the intended, or maybe Sharp. I'm not sure, but the play was there. It was an open play for the Falcons. Would have been a big play. And he came over and got there. And then I thought the interception, clearly there was, Pitts got tangled up, and, was a little another good play by Duggar, by the way, with a good jam at the line of scrimmage. But that should have just been an incomplete pass. But I thought McCourty made a great play to get over there, sliding catch toward the sideline, and that towards that drive too. So I thought he was really good tonight as well.
Excellent. Devin McCourty, a good game for him. What do you think, Deuce?
Yeah, I think I mostly covered. I mean, I wanted to mention Nelson Aguilar. He had that touchdown, but I mean,
I have
5 catches. It's okay. I'm kind of torn on
5 catches, 5
him.
targets.
Yeah, it's. I mean, he was active. I think that's just what I'm encouraged about is seeing him show up. The touchdown was a great throw from Mac. He's wide open, so I guess it kind of easy to hit that one. But
there was maybe one throw tonight that I thought was that throw to Henry.
Yeah, that one was the only one.
He was fairly covered. Everything else was like
pitch
Troy
and
said,
catch.
pitch and catch.
Yeah. But nice game from Aguilar just to see him get involved and he continues to spread the ball around. I think that's what's. I think sometimes maybe with rookies you see guys get locked in on certain players and. Mac doesn't seem to do that. He seems to consistently spread it around and find guys, and I like that about him. So it was just good to see, Aguilar get involved, get a touchdown, and have 5 catches.
I had Aguilar written down early and then a couple of question marks. I'm like, is he really going to stay on the list? He deserves to be on the list.
Yeah,
I think Matthew Judon is another guy who I
always put him on the list.
I had Judon on my list.
Yeah, you can put him on there seemingly every game. I think. His real value tonight not only was getting into the backfield, and he doesn't have like a ton of numbers in terms of tackles or anything like that, but he's drawing coverage and he's requiring it, help to keep him from getting back there, and he's a bother. And if you need if you need to pull somebody over to help block him because
I love it.
that just opens up a lane for somebody else, whether it's Kyle Van Noy or someone else in there to make a play. So that what he's doing out there, he's not always going to get the praise and the accolades, but he is a problem for opposing offenses.
And that's the thing with Paul talking about Barmore too. It's like how many times last year we talk about the Patriots just don't have anybody on defense that you really have to worry about or think about or block. It's just I don't know. We'll go out and we'll line. I mean, now they
had to do it.
They got a couple guys
stunts. They had to do it with games. Now they have 2 guys that basically say, "You're going to block me, I'm going to beat you."
Yep.
Right.
Judon and Barmore.
Yep. That's a nice thing to have. Any other goods to get to, Paul?
We talked a lot about the defense in general and all the plays, and Mike talked about the Adrian Phillips play. I wanted to give Carl Davis a little credit on that as well.
Yep.
Just the overall defense with the 4 takeaways and 2 for 11 on third down, continuing that stuff. But the last thing that I had was Jake Bailey tonight. I thought was back to his normal self of, on those plus 50 opportunities or first 3 punts he had inside the 20. The first one was huge down to the, I think it was the 4-yard line. So Jake Bailey was kind of back to his normal self tonight.
All right, good. All right, let's get on to the bad list here. Deuce, if you want to lead us off. And again, this is a short week shutout on the road.
I know.
So, and some of these are going to be
I don't have much
nitpicky.
Yeah.
Or they're all going to be nitpicky. But there were a couple of guys who did not have great games tonight, I'm sure.
I think that holding penalty on Jonnu, gets him on the list for me. Just it took away a gain, and I don't know how necessary it was. It just seemed like it wasn't quite the kind of play where we had to hold him. So we had one gain, one nice little run, so that was okay. But I just I continue to be a little bit disappointed by the production. And I mean, even if he wasn't hurting the team, it'd be what it was. But the penalty on a night like this, that landed him there.
Yeah,
what do you think, Paul?
I'm going to start off the very first drive of the game. It's I think they got a first down, and they got a 3rd and 4 around midfield, and we got a shotgun run to Brandon Bolden, and I'm like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we just content to punt the ball here? So I really didn't like that call. I thought that was sort of getting off to a shaky start in a game where I thought it was imperative to get off to a really good start and put the game away. And, ultimately they never really put the game away until, the interception parade in the fourth quarter.
It was a 2-score game,
It was 13, it's 13-0, and the Falcons had the ball at the 15-yard line.
Yeah.
So I just thought that the approach early on that particular call was surprising.
Yeah. You just mentioned Brandon Bolden for as effective and as active as he's been. I thought he had kind of a quiet night.
Yeah, he did nothing tonight.
But I he doesn't belong on the bad list.
No.
But just kind of a. It was. I don't want to chalk everything up to short week Thursday night football, but there were a lot of Thursday night football I think not just performances individually, but decisions and kind of overall feeling of the game tonight. And if that reflects poorly on certain players more than others, maybe that's unfair. But, we're trying to present both sides here. But I thought Bolden was pretty quiet tonight.
Yeah, and I'll give Atlanta credit for playing hard on defense. It looked like they were overmatched at times, like guys were wide open in their zones. But they did enough for the entire game, really, to keep their team in the game.
Any other bads you want to point out?
I thought the pass protection was a little spotty in places. He took some hits. He took a few sacks that that haven't been happening in the last few weeks. And again,
a couple of runaway rushers tonight that we haven't seen. I think Mike is right.
Something you can chalk up though to these guys just fought a war 4 days ago and they're back at it tonight. So a little bit of but I still wanted to see more. I was so impressed with Trent Brown last week and I thought he was fine, but I didn't see the same kind of level consistently, but it is what it is. They did what they had to do, but Mac was a little bit under duress tonight.
The play where the safety came in from like 30 yards off the line of scrimmage.
Jerron Harmon.
He's coming.
Oh, was that? It was Harmon on that play.
Yeah.
Do you chalk that up to pass protection or that's just?
Well, they completed the play. So
he's so far away.
Right, and that because and Mike is right. They completed the play, but I don't want completing plays like that.
No.
The quarterback turned when he threw it, and the receiver wasn't looking and had to reach down and bobble it. Like, yeah, it worked, but that's not the way you want to be doing it. And by the way, 4 for 12 tonight on third down. We made a lot of how great they were on third down last week, and for as well as they ran the ball, you probably don't want to be going 4 for 12 on third down because you would think you would have much more makeable third down attempts, and they didn't.
You take away the picks at the end, and especially the pick six, and you just look at, half of the box score. You just look at the Patriots. It does not look like a win.
At 300 yards, 4 for 12, you only scored one touchdown.
Right.
But, the defense was dominant.
All right.
Dominant.
I have one more.
Oh, good.
In line with the coaching thing, Deuce talked about the penalties, so I'll sort of let those go. A couple of special teams penalties again tonight. Probably should have been another one. Clock management at the end of the first half. And I don't put this on Mac Jones. I put this on the coaches. I don't really understand what they were doing there. They had a chance to – I think there was about 20 seconds to go in the half. They had another timeout.
Yep.
They were about a yard short on a pass across the middle. And they did nothing. They didn't run to the line to run a play. They didn't rush to call a timeout. They took their time. The clock ticked all the way down to 5 seconds, and then they ultimately couldn't run a fourth down play because even if they got it, they wouldn't have had time to do anything else. And why risk not getting the first down and then lose the field goal if you do that? So I just thought the clock management there, Mac was upset with himself, but I don't think that was all on Mac. I think someone should have been telling him, we need to call a timeout or you need to get up and run a play. And it was a similar kind of a scenario that unfolded in the preseason. I think it was the Philadelphia game. I'm not positive if I remember that correctly, but same kind of thing. They had a 2-minute drill at the end, and they ultimately had to punt because of a fourth down play like that wasn't quite in field goal range. And they let too much time go off the clock. Nitpicking.
In preseason, you can kind of understand it, but they worked on 2 minutes so much in camp and then presumably still do. So, yeah, you'd like to see that a little cleaner.
Yeah.
A little better execution there.
And they got the field goal, and that's probably all they were going to get on that drive anyway, but I thought they cost themselves 2 plays.
It shouldn't look as hectic when you're just trying to get yourself into a field goal position there and manage the
And it was
the clock
close.
At the end of the half.
There was a pass across the middle. I think it was Aguilar. It was either Aguilar or Bourne. And I wonder if maybe they thought there was going to be a measurement.
Yeah.
Or as your boy Zoe would say, a measurement. I wonder if they were looking for the clock stop, an artificial clock stoppage. But you can't rely on that in the last 20 seconds.
It was kind of like
I don't think the refs want to be stopping the clock in a situation like that unless they have to.
Mm-hmm.
Who is headed to the training room for the Patriots?
I think just Mills. I don't know.
Mills and J.C. Jackson both left the game, but they both returned. Yeah. So I don't think Mike. You said that off your top in your comments. It looked like they got out of there healthy. I think you're right.
Well, for all we know, they got a little Theragun treatment.
That's all you need
in game. I think it's okay to have those over on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, this is a physician-created percussive therapy device that releases your deepest muscle tensions and aches, and it relaxes all of that tension with a scientifically calibrated combination of depth, speed, and power, trusted by 250 professional sports teams. Comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. We've all got the Theragun Mini and love it.
It's excellent. I was using it today.
Yeah, Therabody.com to order up your Theragun. They start at $199. So thank you to Theragun for presenting the good, the bad, and the training room. Yes, Mike Dussault.
Just a couple things to share that kind of interest. So there is a Twitter account, Scorigami, which is they're always trying to figure out if there's an
there's a unique score.
So this was not a Scorigami. This score has happened 10 times before, 25-0. The most recent being September 15th, 2002, and then another little interesting tidbit coming from ESPN Stats and Info. The Falcons are the first team since 2009 Texans to have 3 players throw an interception in the same game. That was Schaub, Rex Grossman, and Chris Brown. The last team before that to have 3 QBs was the 2000 Chargers, Ryan Leaf, Jim Harbaugh, and Moses Moreno. So
It's just a fun fact.
it's just a fun fact.
But
That's
it's
all.
been almost 20 years since we had a
Kinda
25-0 game. All right.
Kinda interesting, you know.
That's good.
And it's good to see Bill has the puffy jacket
No,
on
it's
again
back.
for the postgame.
So cool.
I bet that's expensive.
Yeah.
It looks like one of those puffy jackets where you could go get one at Old Navy for,
$39.99.
$30 maybe, and you could also spend $600 on one. I'm guessing it's more like this.
And I'm thinking if you make $18 million a year, you probably go with the expensive one.
Certainly is.
How about that on the same day? Best dressed and worst dressed, huh?
Certainly is.
Everyone's
warm.
going to be wearing these.
Yeah, the fact that they continue to win on the road and the defense continues to dominate is, I think those are the 2 huge takeaways.
Yep.
Well said. Let's see what everybody thinks on the phones here. 855-PATS-500. Start with Johnny in Wisconsin. First up on the Patriots postgame show presented by Cyber Reason. Hi, Johnny.
How's it going, boys?
Hey, Johnny.
Really good.
Good. Well, it was a good win tonight. I think it was, closer than any of us wanted it to be until the like you guys called it, the turnover brigade at the end there. But saw a crazy stat during the game there. I think it was like 189-17 now, or something under Bill when we win the turnover battle. So I just kind of wanted to get a bit of a take from you guys on J.C. Jackson in particular with another nice catch there on the deflection. What is his value, do you guys really think, going forward potentially with the franchise tag or, an extension or, a new contract, I should say, given how he really is kind of a ball hawk and he does have a feel for, getting that turnover when the turnover is crucial for the Patriots, winning the game under Bill.
The first thing I would say, Johnny, is, obviously the coaches don't have that many games under their belt, but the disparity in the wins versus losses for any team is going to be high if you win the turnover battle. It's one of those things like third downs where you win that, you have...
They're undefeated when they score more points than the opponent.
The Patriots...
right.
But
it's
the Patriots,
not that bad,
yeah,
Deuce.
the Patriots' numbers in those situations are, it is 180-something in like 17.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but I would say it's probably a very
like
high margin for any team.
Their numbers when leading at the half at Gillette Stadium under Belichick, it's like you wouldn't think like just having a halftime lead is... I think they've lost
different.
5 times in the Belichick era while leading at the half.
And that's different. But I think what is more, to the point here is how often the Patriots win the turnover battle. And that's, that's what we talk about. It was Paul's key to the game. Just protect the football.
Yep. Yeah, and the pick that Mac Jones threw almost let Atlanta right into the game. And if not for the huge 3rd and 4th down stops, they're at the 15-yard line needing a blade of grass, and they come up short by good quality handoff to the fullback, Andy Hart. Good job, good play call. And then, Carl Davis and Adrian Phillips combined to, oh my God, to end that drive, and that ended the game. Ultimately, I think the game was over on that 4th down stop at 13-0.
But those turnovers,
like
the timing of them is important. But, you look at Brady last week against Washington. He throws 2 picks in the first quarter. Now, was the game lost at that point? No. But it kind of tells you the direction the game is going at that point.
Chase.
Yeah, it's no way to play, and it's something that Belichick's teams have done for years, which has been real good in the turnover disparity, and then capitalize on it. Make sure if you're going to win that crucial part of the game, you don't end up losing the game because you've controlled the football better, and that's kind of what they do.
And what can you say about J.C. Jackson? He just continues to find the ball. I mean, it's going to be a.
Does he find it?
I think he just
the
keeps
ball
finding
find him?
It finds him. Somehow they're connecting. I don't know who's finding who, but it's happened too consistently and too often to say it's
fortuitous. Sure, at times, but and Paul, I know you agree with this too. The athleticism that it requires to actually, come down with those balls. You see it a lot, and maybe not from corners, maybe not from safeties, but you see guys, with the ball that's, up for grabs, and they don't manage to come down with it. And yes, on other guys on other teams, I guess if they had really, really good hands, they'd be receivers. So you don't always expect them to come up with these balls that are
huge plays.
Yeah, they're wobbling around, and J.C. Jackson does.
He does.
Huge plays.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. And it keeps happening, and it's going to be a major question this offseason of how they figure out re-signing the guys on defense. I mean, certainly it's making it a lot harder in recent weeks with the way these guys are playing. A lot of guys who are going to be free agents playing awesome. So it's kind of that double-edged sword where every pick, it makes you more excited about him, but it also probably makes other teams more excited as well to give him a big payday. So big question for the offseason for sure.
Let's go to Dave in Rhode Island, who's joining us now on the Patriots Postgame Show presented by Hey!
Good job, Hardy.
Dave. Booby.
Let's go to another Dave.
Let's go to Dave in Charlotte. He'll be there. Hi, Dave.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey,
really
Dave.
Good.
Good. I'm doing my part to keep you all awake in these late hours.
Oh, you're a good man.
Yeah, man, that right there, that was Thursday Night Football. That was rough. They really need to get rid of that.
I agree.
It's over. This is Thursday Night Football. So many field goals.
Yeah, so I had a question because the commentators were talking right over it. Did that penalty against Slater stand? I never thought it was overturned. I thought it was. Okay, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, it should have stood, but they said that it was incidental. But Mike Pereira, the officials expert, came on and said that it probably should have stood.
All right, David, we got to let you go because he was first up on our good list tonight. Very much deserving of it. A fantastic game for Kyle Duggar joining us on the Patriots Postgame Show. Kyle, you're on with Hardy and Mike Dussault and Paul Perillo. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, Kyle, how was the short week of preparation, and then how rewarding is it to just go down there and play lights out and get a win and shut the Falcons out?
The win was definitely great. I mean, the preparation was efficient. I think we got the most out of every day we had, even though we're short. But to go out there and execute on a short week just made it that much better.
Kyle, how challenging is it to sort of get geared up again on such short notice physically? You guys, I thought right from the very beginning of the game tonight, defensively, and you especially, I thought really brought the physicality to Atlanta, really dominated the line of scrimmage, and some of the plays that you and your fellow defensive backs were making out in the flat on tackles tonight. How hard is that to continue that physicality off such a short week?
I think it really just comes down to how you use your time and how quickly you get on it. So with this week, we had to really get, as soon as the game ended, we had to get, into the sign and the cold stuff and do whatever we could to restart our bodies, knowing that we had a short week coming up. So I think I did a good job, and I can't speak for everybody else, but I feel like it was a good job of getting in there and doing that and being ready to play today.
Kyle, I saw at the end of the game there was a lot of celebrating going on with a lot of Patriots fans there. I think we saw the same thing at Carolina a couple of weeks ago. Were you well represented with Patriots fans there tonight?
Oh, definitely had a lot of family in the crowd. I couldn't find them all. I was trying to look, but I definitely had a good representation out here, and it was good to come home and let them see me play.
Kyle, do you feel like you're finding a little bit of a stride here the last month or so? You're getting some interceptions. Seems like you're making plays on the ball. Some great tackles. Do you just feel like you're kind of finding your stride a little bit?
Yeah, just becoming a little more consistent. I think that's just a result of being more consistent in practice and and making sure I'm focused. But I definitely think that the result of my play has been just due to consistency and practice, and it's just starting to show now.
Kyle, it was, about 5 or 6 weeks ago now, that Dallas game obviously didn't end the way you guys want. But since then, you guys defensively have taken it to a whole different level. And what has been the biggest difference over these last 5 games where you guys have just completely suffocated opponents? Your third down defense has been just unreal. You're not allowing any teams to breathe, and tonight you cap it off with a shutout. What has been the difference for you guys over the last 5 games?
I really think we've just been growing together. We really been doing a good job of having chemistry on the field, and it's starting to come, and the grind hasn't really changed. We've been digging in since week 1, but I think really just the chemistry is starting to come together, and we're starting to really, hit our stride and make less mistakes together and play together better.
Kyle, another great win tonight, 5 in a row, 7-4 in the season. It's just a great way to go into a little bit of extra rest here. So thanks for taking the time, and congratulations again.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, thanks. There
Thanks,
he goes.
Kyle. Congrats, Kyle.
Kyle Duggar, and a big thank you to our partner, Microsoft Windows 11, the official operating system of the NFL and the New England Patriots. The all-new Windows 11 is here to bring you closer to what you love, like the Patriots Postgame Show. Learn about all the awesome new features of Windows 11 at windows.com. Kyle Duggar, man, what a treat for us, too, after he's first up on our good list here tonight.
There you go.
Be able to get him on there, and I think they are playing, more as a unit now than they have been in the past, but they all seem to be playing with a little more confidence. And
trust in each other.
Yeah, it's all coming together for those guys. It just continues to just impress week after week here during this winning streak.
They've been really, really impressive.
It's setting the bar to, these great offenses that they're going to have to face if they want to get to the playoffs. And I think, if I'm any team that has to play the Patriots, I'm like, ooh, this is going to be a challenge. This is a challenging team. No matter what you got on offense, I don't care who they play. They're going to make it tough on you. They're going to bring some physicality up front. And, just seeing Duggar really start to grow and just the physicality, like you pointed, like the open field hits, like he comes with a pop,
Yeah.
And that just is something that carries over, I think, to the rest of the team. You see them kind of playing with a physical edge that, I don't want to say it's been absent the last couple of years, but there's just, they're playing at a good level right now. And I just hope they can continue it, because now we can talk about Tennessee and that physical, because that's a physical team too. That's a team that wants to be physical. That's a team that last time was here ran the ball all over you. So,
but I'll tell you,
it's gonna be a good challenge.
I like the Patriots' chances in that kind of a matchup, because it's another team that really only does one thing well.
Absolutely.
And I like the Patriots. That's what I was talking about, like when the Patriots have gotten to the point where they're back to that, let the other team make mistakes and be ready to pounce on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing. Like, all they had tonight was Kyle Pitts.
Right.
Everybody and their brother knew the Patriots were going to shut down Kyle Pitts. Not because Kyle Pitts isn't any good. Matter of fact, I thought he was pretty impressive tonight. But if that's all you got, there's no way that Bill Belichick is going to allow that. If he has some horses, there's no way he's going to allow one thing. And I just can't imagine Tennessee's going to muscle up and just pound away at the Patriots and win a game like they did 2 years ago in that playoff game in 2019.
Yep.
No way.
It's funny, too, because I'm thinking the same thing. I thought, Kyle Pitts, he actually got his tonight. He had 3 catches. One of them was for 16 yards, and that was the –
And he was open a couple of other times that they, the pass rush got to him. I don't think that he did anything wrong tonight, in other words. It wasn't like he wasn't working, wasn't fighting through, whatever. They just said, you're not beating us.
Right.
We're gonna put multiple bodies around you. You're not going to beat us.
Yeah, that's probably what they're going to do to A.J. Brown next. That's kind of like a focal point.
Well, I think they're going to just say, you're not going to run the ball down our throat.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We're going to make sure you can't run the ball all over us, and we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. And they're going to make you do it in a different way.
Good Judon quote coming out of the press conference. I'll share via Matthew Fairburn from The Athletic. We kind of want to be a-holes on the field. We play within the rules and don't want to get penalized. We're a nasty group. I agree. You are a nasty group.
Let's go to Jack in Michigan on the Patriots Postgame Show presented by
at?
Cyber Reason.
I know what you're laughing at.
Jack, go ahead.
Nasty.
How you guys doing?
I didn't. I wanted to so bad. I was gonna nasty boys, but I didn't do it.
Don't mean a thing.
Go ahead, Jack.
How you guys doing?
Good.
I got one quick question for you guys. So, Mac was super efficient today. Finding open guys, throwing pretty well. With the defense, next week with, Kevin Byard, Amani Hooker, Chris Jackson, how do you think they're going to attack it? Do you think we're going to go more of those rub concepts like we did against the Browns? Do you think Mac is going to go more downfield? Like, what kind of stuff how do you think we're going to attack next week?
Wow,
I haven't even looked.
I know. I haven't.
No idea.
But I think avoiding the middle of their line. I think that's their defensive line. I think they got some big boys up there with Simmons, and I mean that's a lot of the damage they did that I saw against the Rams. Jump into them this week to get a better sense of it. But I think that in many ways, obviously with Vrabel, I think it's a similarly constructed team, even if schematically they're not the same. I just think that they're a tough football team, and they're gonna come in and. They're not going to get pushed around. They might fight. The Patriots might defeat them, but I don't think they're going to get pushed around. So we'll see. But I just think they got to do whatever they can do. I mean, we saw it tonight. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. They weren't that great on third down. They were effective running the ball in spurts, but I think they need to get back to some consistency producing offensively, and then they'll have success. But tough to say. It's just I think it's overall it's almost more focusing on yourself and executing your own team rather than. All right, how do we get around the Titans who, I think they have good players, but I don't think there's anything like, oh, this is what we're going to attack, at least not yet.
All right, Jack?
All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. We'll move down south, straight down I-75 and go to Florida. We'll talk to Tyler, who's on the Patriots Postgame show. What's up there, Tyler?
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Excellent. Thanks for calling in. What do you got for us?
All right, so this is a little bit more of an overreaction than anything. How did the NFL let Mac Jones, Barmore, Ramondre just fall to the Patriots? I mean, come on. This is just insane. But, I mean, to get back on it, I just had a quick question. I mean, what do you guys think the odds are of the Patriots making it to the Super Bowl? I mean, let's be real.
I got to see how they do against Buffalo. I mean, I want to see how they do against passing teams that have multiple passing threats that can kind of spread them out and not allow 7-man boxes to kind of dictate the matchup. I think if you have a team that has enough passing threats, which, I mean, Buffalo does, but Buffalo's a one-dimensional team. So, I mean, I'm not ruling it out that they couldn't come out of the AFC, but I think when you go back, look at the Dallas game, look at the Tampa game, how they had to kind of, mix and match a little bit, and it was a little bit of a grind. When they're playing these teams now where they're run-centric, maybe they have one receiving threat. I think that the odds fall in the Patriots' favor. But if you have a team that's able to go 4 or 5 wide, stress their cornerback depth, not allow their defensive linemen to dictate the matchups, then I think they might have some problems. I don't know though, but they'll have to prove it here at the end of the season with those 2 games against Buffalo.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that there's no team that the Patriots could face that I would say that they can't play with.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean I think they're going to the Super Bowl. I mean, I agree with Mike. I want to see a lot more. I mean, just off the top of my head here, I'm trying to think. The Chargers, only team with a winning record that they've beaten?
Yeah, probably. Well, that was right? Yes.
And they're 5-4.
Yeah, and that was the last team to give them a game. But, you automatically, my mind goes to, Super Bowl. What are we talking about here?
No, I'm not dismissing their chances. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I don't.
My knee jerk is to say, like, that's not really what this team is about. The Chargers was a tight game. That was a 3-point win, and that was a good team at least at the time. Your
but
feelings
I think that's
may
the
change
best
on
win.
that.
I mean, you have the Jets, Houston, Carolina, Atlanta. I mean, those are 5 really bad teams.
Right, but
really bad.
But when you start looking at the trend, okay, so you've played one team in the Browns, which I did not.
Cleveland and the Chargers, I think, are good wins.
I didn't think were awful. And you mix in the Panthers and the Falcons tonight. Falcons are what they are, even though they had gotten themselves to 500, as Burt Breer pointed out just 11 days ago. These last 3 games, they have won by a combined 94-13. That's a team that is trending.
It's almost as many points as the Falcons have lost the last 2 by.
But
listen, the Patriots, to me, it's what we started with. You're 5-0 on the road. Now, I mean,
yes.
I know. There's not. They played 4 bad teams. I don't care. They've won every road game. Other teams are going on the road against bad teams and losing 1. Patriots haven't lost any, and not only they haven't lost any since that Houston game. Really, none of them have been close. Like they blew out the bad teams, and even tonight when they kind of stumble around a little bit and go 4 for 12 on third down, it's still 13-0, and the game's kind of over.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, right?
Unless
you gave the nod earlier than that.
Oh, I gave the nod at 3-0.
We're going to step aside here. We'll come back. We'll talk to Alex in California. Spee, he's out in California as well, and Aaron, who is a bone to pick with you, Paul. I don't know about what.
Who has a bone to pick with me?
Aaron in Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Because I just said that they could go to the Super Bowl, so I don't see how I can get boned pick.
Well, maybe Aaron doesn't think that, but we'll find out.
Maybe I'm too positive.
Good tease.
What do you think the odds are of that? I'm going to say 0.
I'd say very slim. Very, very slim. We want to thank Bose. They're proud to be the official sound and official headphones of the New England Patriots and the NFL. Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds. Rule the quiet. Learn more at Bose.com.
Defending against cyber attacks requires seeing in the dark, understanding and ending every threat to your organization on computers, mobile, and the cloud. It takes Cyber Reason. End cyber attacks from endpoints to everywhere.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
According to AWS Next Gen Stats, Lockett had a 25.9% chance to catch that. What a play!
AWS, you can stat that.
King's right, 2 Y banana, alert diamond. Stat that.
Got that. How is that even possible?
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Can we start to pencil in some wins now?
Nope.
Why not?
Who do you want to pencil it in on?
Jacksonville?
Yes, you can pencil that one in.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Sorry, Deuce was talking about The Sopranos. What are you doing, Deuce? Stay focused.
I jumped in. Sorry.
All right, we're in the we're into it, boy. We are in it. The Patriots postgame show presented by Cyber Reason, official defenders of the New England Patriots. 25-0. The Patriots get their first shutout of the year. Another road win. That makes 5 road wins. They are undefeated on the road still.
It's pretty good.
That's craziness.
It's weird when you had that team a couple years ago that couldn't win any games on the road. I mean, they did at the end, but just strange how it works.
And then winning the Super Bowl. But,
right. It's weird. Like, and then these guys, they won't lose a game on the road all year. They go on the road, they'll lose. I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Just strange.
They moved to 7-4 on the season, and now we're taking your calls. We'll go to Alex in California, 855-PATS-500. That's the Ace Ticket hotline. Alex, what's going on?
What's up, guys? First-time caller. Love the show. Actually, I was at the Browns game last weekend. Super hype. Super great weekend. But I did want to bring up a point that was made after the Jets game, I think by you, Paul. But as you mentioned, how you thought that Belichick wanted to make a statement by keeping the foot on the gas, essentially scoring 50 points against a team like the Jets. Although they weren't able to win those close games early in the year, like Tampa, Dallas, like Miami, I really felt like they needed to hold their head up high on something, and I feel like that Jets game was kind of it. But kind of ran across that point that you made a couple weeks ago, and it kind of holds true and reminds me about the end of the 2018 season, kind of.
Yeah, I do think that was why he continued to go. I think he was trying to really pump the team up. really build him up a little bit. I think that's why he kept the foot on the gas that day.
Yeah, no, I totally felt like that was a big turning point of the season, and who knows? We'll see what happens with this season here.
All right, Alex. Appreciate the call. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for checking in. Spee in Fresno, always checking in, pre and post. Spee, what do you got for us?
What's happening? Yeah, I mean, never sure what to make of a Thursday night situation. I mean, yeah, the O-line, was it fatigue? Why Mac was getting hit so much? I mean, you got to love that, the defensive stand on the 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. But the stuff that's on my mind is 28-3 sophomoric talk. 25-0. It's the same point differential, which is nice. But there's when you were down 16-0, when you were up 16-0. I mean, I was thinking that it was probably more likely we'd somehow make it to 28 than that the Falcons were going to get a field goal. But there's so many stupid questions to ask about this, but here's the one I'll land on. So the Falcons missed a field goal earlier in the game. They had that chance to get their 3.
Yep.
So what are the chances that you're up 25-3 and Bill can go to victory formation, but he instead says, what's the chances that Bill would have done that? 0 or 5, 10?
I wonder if 28-3 even means anything to him. Does that even register on his radar?
I honestly don't think.
You would have done it if you.
I would have. Yeah, of course. I think there's a better chance that he would have thrown a bomb to try to score a touchdown.
Right.
Honestly, because that's what he's done in these games. He's continued to try to score.
I know it is funny. I didn't see any 28-3 shirt reports though. I'm sad to say. So hopefully our
Mike, I was wearing mine and I have one of your originals.
Nice.
Oh wow.
The OG.
Nice. How much you make on that shirt?
All right, good win. Have a good week.
Thanks, B.
More than I make.
Enough. Nothing left now, but
let's go to Aaron in Minnesota and his bone that he has to pick with Paul. Aaron, what's up?
Hey, fellas, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, love you guys. I'm an Andy guy. That's why I want to argue with Paul.
Oh, okay.
That's it?
I respect it.
Yeah, it's over a dumb play, really.
I'm an Andy guy, too.
Is it the fullback play?
It's like begrudgingly walking into
it was the call against Slater that was overturned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel that was absolutely the right call by the officials.
Now, why is that? Why do you disagree with Mike Pereira?
I always do.
Oh. The guys that...
He's a master.
The guys that run the officials, no less than...
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
You're right. Not always. Never. Yeah. But Slater, he waived a fair catch late, and Slater, if you watch it, he was running and then was trying to get out of the way.
Yes.
And
he was definitely trying to get out of the way. No question.
But
he hit him.
The flight was shifting to the right.
Yes.
The same way that Slater was moving. No.
Right. So let me just add, this is the way I would say, and obviously no one really cares. It was an inconsequential play. But
correct.
I said this when they decided to pick the flag up. I said to Mike, so you're telling me that if that contact caused him to lose the ball, the Patriots would have gotten the ball? Like, does that seem fair? Because there was clearly contact between the defender and the returner on a fair catch. So you're telling me if
that
the
was
ball,
late, though.
It doesn't matter late, early, or indifferent. You have to give the guy a chance to catch the ball.
Which I thought he was trying to do.
He was trying, but he didn't.
A Falcons defender there that was kind of drifting him.
Correct.
Okay, Aaron, but here's
what they ruled was it was incidental contact. Not that it was late, not that he was pushed into him, nothing. They just said it was incidental contact, which I don't have a huge problem with. But you have a rule in the book, probably should have been a penalty. You can't hit him. But he did.
And here's the question, Aaron, and I think it's a good one. If that contact had caused a fumble and the Patriots recovered it, do you think they still would have said no penalty there?
I had no idea.
All right. Well.
Yeah, and it's like it's a funny one.
That's,
it's like
there was no intent on a.
No question.
But that's not really a question of intent. Hey, Aaron, thanks.
Right.
Actually, I have one more question for you. How does one get to be an Andy guy? How does that happen?
Because he fights with Paul and Fred, and fights with Eric and challenges Eric unlike Deuce doesn't.
Fought.
Eric needs to be challenged more and not just coddled like a little boy. I'm sorry. I'm not
Aaron,
an Eric guy.
Aaron, do you call all the time?
No.
You need to start calling during the week.
Yeah.
You've quickly become my favorite caller ever. I love that. You can't coddle him like a child. I love that.
He does get treated with kid gloves.
He
I've
does.
noticed. Yeah.
He's nailed it. Aaron just nailed it.
Yeah.
He's in his bed right now in his full man pajamas, just zonked out.
Aaron, call during the week.
He's got one of those little caps, right?
Oh, yeah, a
Little
nightcap.
matches.
Nightcap. Yeah.
Well, and then I went to sleep. I had my tea and, listened to some
And
bit of meditation.
I didn't even have to stay up and watch the game because before the season, I picked the Patriots to beat Atlanta, so I knew it was going to happen.
I love
Aaron, don't be a stranger. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Aaron.
Great job, Aaron.
Thank you.
Everybody's an idiot except for me.
That's the epitome of Squidward, otherwise known as Eric.
Let's go to Kevin in San Francisco. Kevin, you're up next here on the Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cyber Reason. Hello.
Hey, boys. How are you doing?
Good, Kevin. How are you?
Hey, I was just listening to that the talk about the Slater play. I think Slater got away with one just because he's been an MVP on special teams for so many years.
I think you're right.
I think if there was somebody else, I think they call that. But anyway, I just wanted to call and say, as always, haven't talked to you guys since last year. Great job as always. Great pregame and postgame show. I walk away from this game going, hey, we have a lot to clean up, but we won, and that's the thing. That's my takeaway over the last few weeks. There's a lot of things that we need to clean up and get better at, but we're getting wins. And there's so many bad teams that have games where they do a lot of good things, but they do enough bad things to lose. And I'll take this any day. We're not a finished product by any means, but I like the fact that we're having more progress and more success than failure each week, and we still have something to learn about when they go do the film work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Sure.
So, anyway, thanks, guys.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think tonight's things to clean up are more understandable, too, just because of the spot.
Yeah.
The Thursday night stuff.
Yeah, and what I like is that you're coming up on, there's no more qualifiers. You're going to play the Tennessee Titans. You're going to play the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
It's just kind of put
and
up
it's
or
illustrated
shut up
right
now.
there. We were watching, a little of the NBC Sports Boston, and to Mike's point, okay, so the best win right now is 6-5 or 5-4, but you have an 8-2 team followed by a 6-3 team, and then a week after that you got another. You're going to have that 6-3 team again. So you have opportunities to post the wins that other teams have posted. It's right there in front of you.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that is like one of the main things to look for the rest of the season. You've got a 7-4 team right now that still has some untapped potential. They've still got some things that I don't think they've fully realized yet, and it's certainly offensively. I don't see how the defense can get better.
On Sunday, I thought you kind of saw exactly what this team could do when it's really clicking.
Right.
But
that was with one running back. They had a Harris back in there tonight.
Yeah, but basically,
it's just a tiny little bit.
But
Paul.
basically, you had the same production. Is my point? Like instead of 20 for 100, you had 10 and 10 for 50 each.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And you might say
that's right. You can only. I know.
But you might say, I'd rather have the 10 and 10 for 50 each. Keep them fresh. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Mitigate injuries.
I don't think it's wrong.
No.
But I'm just saying, you basically had the same production.
Yeah, that's why I put them together.
Chad in Los Angeles. What's going on, Chad?
Hey guys, how are you tonight?
Real good. Thank you.
I'm thrilled that the phone banks are loaded.
Oh, we're doing well.
I am incredibly excited about what's been happening. I can't believe we're here. I'm kind of actually trying to figure out how we got here, especially with the defense being as strong as it is. I'm also wondering what your guys' opinion is as far as Judon being one of the best acquisitions we've had, I don't know, maybe ever.
10.5 sacks.
Where does it rank in your guys' perspective, throughout the years? Because it seems like the dynasty is continuing on.
Yeah, I mean, Judon's what you hoped Adelius Thomas would have been, and granted, this is a sample size that we're whatever 11 games in or that now, but it's hard to ask for more. And I think the combination of signing Judon and drafting Barmore, who just those are the kind of guys. I mean, they've been searching for a guy like that for forever. But now they have one, the guy that can be disruptive and that's just consistently a problem. I don't want to compare him to Seymour, but I think the impact he has on the game is consistent with a guy like Seymour of playing up and down the line, pressure. If you try to block him with one guy, if you try to go for it on 3rd and short, he's going to be pushing guys into the backfield. And so just the combination of those two, I think, has really just elevated everything else, allowed other guys to make plays. And it's all clicking right now. I think the offense has got to continue to make strides and find consistency, but I feel real good about the D right now.
Yeah, Chad, I'm
so impressed with how far we've come. I mean, in just such a short period of time. It's incredible since Brady left that this is where we're at. I can't believe it.
Yeah, well, I'd be hesitant to say the dynasty continues.
They're 7-4.
It is a really nice change from where we thought this team was and where the team was at the end of last season and where they were just a few weeks ago at 2-4.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all positive developments. But to put that type of pressure and expectation on ourselves and on the team by saying, well, we have our next 15 to 18 year quarterback that was said on the telecast tonight.
Yeah, 18 years.
It's ridiculous.
Troy Aikman
okay,
said.
So let's be grateful for what we have here, which is now a winning team, a team that is, we were happy when they got to 500. They've rattled off 3 more wins since then.
And I'm
Great.
happy that I think they've gotten to a point where I no longer look at them going against other teams and feeling like they don't really have much of a shot.
Right.
I think they have a chance on anybody right now, and I think if things go right, I think they have a chance to win a lot of games down the stretch here, even with this 4-game stretch coming. But I'm not willing to say, 3 years ago, if we were 7-4, we'd be sitting here with panic in the streets.
Yeah,
to continue the dynasty talk, I'm not ready to do that. I'm ready to say this is a really good football team capable of beating anybody.
I think it's a good football team, but my problem is, Paul, and it's not a problem. I'll tell you why in a second. Other teams that they're still going to face and other teams that are out there, I still say are better on paper. They have better teams, but virtually every other team in the league.
There aren't as many of those that I
now, because you see these teams losing games that they shouldn't lose.
And losing personnel,
and
quite frankly.
And losing some personnel, but also just losing games sometimes. With the Buccaneers, they continue to lose personnel here and there.
Yeah, the Buccaneers aren't anywhere near as talented as the team that we played in Week 3.
Exactly. So,
Week 4, whatever it was.
It was Week 4. I seem to remember a big Week 4 game around here that people kept talking about. Circle Week 4 on the calendar. Was that because it was the Buccaneers?
Do you remember some of the preseason talk of you can't have Mac Jones play in that game? It will ruin him.
Oh, man. Some of the stuff, I've said it before, just I think they should just, probably they're going to start Cam and bring Mac along slowly. Thank God I was wrong about that one.
If we're going to be fair, I believe, at least my thoughts on it were, you don't want to bring Mac Jones into that game if Cam were the starter and he faltered in the first 3. He didn't want Mac Jones to have that be his first start in the NFL, which is different than just having him start the season.
Yeah, it's not that much
that
different, but it is different.
I think it's a lot different.
I just feel like if you felt like he was your starter, I don't understand why you would say he's my starter, but not against Tampa.
No. I'm saying I wouldn't start him
and that wasn't
in his
that
first.
Wasn't a shot at you. That was a shot at Mike and Tony. By the way.
But I would not have made that his first football game. I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, if I thought
done it.
If I thought he was my starter and that was the week I thought he passed Cam, yeah.
Were you no training wheels, Dad?
Was I a no training wheels dad?
Yeah. When you were teaching your boys to ride bicycles, did they have training wheels?
No, they did not have training wheels. Well, I mean, they did have the little little tyke bikes that have like
coaster
had
bikes.
The balance
Yeah, but
bike.
once they tried to learn how to ride bikes, they didn't have training wheels.
Oh, there are no training wheels for my kids. So
No.
they had a coaster bike that my daughter used a lot, but when she got her first bike, it came with training wheels, and I took
them right off.
I'm like, you don't need them.
Threw them out.
You don't need them. No training wheels.
We
Get
did have
'em
a
out
hard
there.
time with my younger son.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had a little he had some issues.
Yeah, we had one bad issue on a bike with my son, with my youngest.
Took a digger.
I remember. So they when the kids in the neighborhood started to like really like venture out and ride around, then they had to get him to ride a bike, right? So they all helped him out, and he was he got up to speed and he was fine. And I would say like maybe a month after all of this happened, like they sort of had an intervention. They came, we're gonna help you, T. We're gonna help you. So I'm driving home one day, and there's like this long, windy road that leads to my street. So I'm driving around.
Gated community.
And I come, yeah, in Peabody.
We went by the security guard.
Yeah. So I'm
Guard check.
I'm coming around. I'm coming around the bend of this street, and and I see there's like a bike on its side, and I was like, kid on the.
That's weird.
And I'm like, huh. Oh Jesus! It's TJ. He had fallen over. His
That's
couple
funny.
Couple of people had helped him, and he was like all sad. He wasn't crying, but he was like really embarrassed. And I was like, "What happened?" He goes, "I don't know. I was just driving down the street, and the steering wheel turned. I hit the fence. I fell."
Oh my God!
I couldn't stop laughing. I felt so bad. Father of the year.
Same thing happened to me, but I was TJ. I wiped out on my bike on a street, got all cut up, and my parents just happened to be driving the other way, and were like, "Oh my God, that's Mike!" and stopped and helped me. That's funny, random.
Mike.
Yeah, Mike. That's my real name.
Oh yeah,
That's my real name.
I forget. I'm like, who's Mike?
Deuce.
Remember D-Train?
Yeah. Let's go to Connor in Waltham. What's up, Connor? You're on the Patriots postgame show. 25-0 shutout over the Falcons in Atlanta tonight. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, Thursday Night Football is always weird, so, I mean, about as happy as I could be about that. Just had a quick question regarding Mac Jones and, like, the comment about the training wheels. Heard a lot of talk about his ceiling, like, as it relates to maybe the other quarterbacks in the draft or current quarterbacks in the league. Like, I don't really know what that means. Like, the physical aspect of him with the arm strength and maybe the ability to make the big throw, but the decision-making and everything else that goes involved, like the mental aspect, why does that get so overlooked in the NFL versus maybe the Josh Allen?
It doesn't.
Patrick
That's why he was a
Mahomes
first-round pick.
I think that's.
Yeah.
I think that's
It
why
doesn't get overlooked.
No, and I think the Patriots were happy to get him there, but I also give some credit to the coaching there. There have been times, and Connor, thanks for the call.
But if you were going just on physical ability, he wouldn't have been a first-round pick.
No, he would not have. And we were talking about this earlier today. Look, these are long days, so I apologize if it was us talking about it in the pregame, or if it was me and Beetle talking about it earlier today with Zoe. But when it comes to these letdown games that rookies have, or maybe a letdown game that the Patriots have, it's like just expecting this really bad performance for Mac Jones. I don't know that the coaches would let him do that. I don't know that Josh McDaniels and Belichick would leave him out there for a 4-interception game, or like we saw last week or the week before it. Again, they're blending together too. Where he only has 5 pass attempts in the second half in a game when it just doesn't have it going. It wasn't against Cleveland; it was the week before. You understand what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
So some of this decision making, I'll give most of the credit to Mac, and I'll give some of the credit to the coaching and the way he's been brought along this season too. It was frustrating earlier on. I would have liked to have seen him, maybe had the reins taken off a little bit more, especially on some red zone plays.
Yeah.
But it's hard to argue with the results that we're getting now.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a good job. I mean, it's
if you believe it's all connected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I go back to when they announced Mac as the starter, and that was, surprising. I guess we first heard Cam was getting released was the first part of it, but Josh McDaniels, I mean, that's why all week you listen to is Josh going to stick around? Thinking, everyone's freaking out now that Josh McDaniels is going to leave. But it's been a clinic, and I think that, and you also got to mention just Mac being a great fit for here, and just, the coaching staff and everything is in place, and they went out and they got all these guys, including, 2 tight ends. I know, one's worked out a little better than the other right now, but they kind of put everything in place and had a support system for him. And now that the offensive line is playing like we hoped they would at the beginning of the season with, Trent Brown coming back, but just playing together in front, giving him the time. I think that's, we saw it really last week. I think this week's a little bit of a Thursday night game, and you got to take it with a grain of salt. But they've done an excellent job, and it just it's never seemed like Mac's swimming in it. Doesn't feel like he's making mistakes and then they're snowballing. So they've done a good job of that. I would be curious how they would manage him if there was a game like that where he's getting crushed out there. Like you can't get anything going. What would they do to kind of pull back or to help him? Hopefully we don't have to see that, but they've done a really good job, and he's playing great, and it's great for the team. I mean, the long-term viability of the Patriots to have a kid like this playing like this.
Sure. Love all the calls coming in. Oh, this is great. Go out to California again. Talk to Steve this time on the Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cyber Reason. Hi, Steve. Thanks for calling. What do you got for us?
Hey, thank you guys. Been a long-time fan forever, first-time caller.
Excellent.
Just wanted to ask you guys what your opinion was. Love this offense. Love Mac. I feel like our offense still doesn't have an identity, and by that I mean we still don't have, Jacoby will go off for a game, and then Kendrick Bourne will go off for a game, Nelson Aguilar will go off for a game, but we don't have those go-to guys, and or at least consistently. It seems random. So, and I think once we start getting Jonnu Smith involved, I feel like we're just not firing on all cylinders. And once we do, it's my opinion that I think the league will be on notice once we start firing on all cylinders.
You know what? I'd rather have it be this way.
Yeah.
Quite frankly,
that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
I love that.
The identity of the offense is power. It's power football. They run the ball. That's the identity.
Yeah.
When was the last time they ran for less than 100 yards in a game?
That's so true. And watching Ramondre and Damian Harris back there, you can't even argue with it. I mean, Ramondre especially, in my opinion, he passes the eye test. The guy he falls for 5 yards, even when he's getting pressured in the backfield.
Yep.
It's amazing, but I just don't. I think that this offense hasn't even unlocked their true potential. And watching
I disagree.
Is just amazing.
I think this is what the offense is. I think they're doing exactly what they want to do on offense. They're controlling the ball. They're pounding away at defenses. This is exactly how they wanted to play. If you asked them in August how they thought it would unfold, this is it. What you've seen the last 5 weeks. We're going to hold the ball. We're going to beat you up. We're going to come at you with our big, rough, tough offensive line. They were a little bit shaky earlier in the year. They've gotten it together. Trent Brown being back now. They're going to play power football, and they're going to shorten games. They're going to control the ball 32, 33, 34 minutes, and they're going to just beat you to a pulp. That's what they do.
Well, I'm going to agree with both of you because, Paul, I think they do have an identity. It's a run-the-ball type of offense, and it's a power offense. But I also agree with Steve in that I think Jonnu Smith can play better. I think Hunter Henry can be more involved.
Sure.
And but I don't want to do it, Steve, if this makes sense, to the point where it becomes predictable. And that's
take this piece away.
That's a luxury you can afford when you're Tom Brady and you have Julian Edelman. Okay, he was the motor that made the offense go, and everyone knew that was his go-to guy, and they couldn't do anything about it. That's a luxury when you have the greatest quarterback of all time and one of the most underrated receivers. And you don't have either of that right now, so I would rather them keep this identity, but just I guess, enhance it or supplement it or do whatever by untapping a little bit more of that potential that you're talking about, Steve.
I agree. And especially with some tough games coming up, specifically those 2 Bills games. Those Bills are going to hone in on our running game and dare Mac to throw the ball. And he's going to do a good job like he's done all season. But he's relying on efficiency, and I love him. I mean, I'm a big fan. But when they shut down our run game and we need to turn to that passing game, that's when you need, Nelson to make consistent plays, Kendrick to make consistent plays, and especially Jonnu. I really do think Jonnu is the key to our offense. When we get that guy going, it's gonna confuse defensive coordinators, in my opinion.
All right. Well, all you have to do is get him inside the 30.
Yes, Paul.
I have a question in the back.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Why do people think it's a matter of time before he gets going?
Jonnu Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Has he gotten going in his NFL career?
Because he was expensive.
I mean, I don't think he's been, terrible, like a lot of other people do. But I think I had mentioned it was his career high is 45 catches.
Yeah.
He's kind of on pace for 45 catches. And I just don't think that he is I think people think that he is something more than he was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of pounding that drum about Jonnu, and I mean, I did it tonight, and I don't know. Tonight, I feel like I just don't know if he's going to be an impact player for them, and I don't know that it really matters all that much because they've gotten other guys to step up.
I don't think it matters at all.
So I think it's just one of those things when you sign all those guys in free agency. Some are going to work, some weren't. It's unfortunate that clearly one that you signed for 4 years hasn't worked out, but he is here for another 3 years if they want him. So
I just look at it as you have. I don't understand why you feel the need to have a go-to guy. I wish they had better options, maybe more dynamic options, so they didn't have to constantly peck their way down the field. Maybe they could get, have a guy take a 5-yard slant and pick up 40 on a more consistent basis. Okay, maybe I would like to have more dynamic options, but I don't have any problem with spreading it around between Myers, Aguilar, and Bourne. Henry has been in there. Now that Smith was back in there, he was, he had a good catch and run tonight. He's been by far and away the least productive of those guys. But I don't. Why do you need to have one guy? Yeah. That's to me, an identity isn't about we throw the ball to Edelman. That's our identity.
Right. To me,
the identity of those offenses was quick timing passing attack. The slot receiver was a focal point. That was the identity. The identity of this offense right now is power football. That's what they do. It doesn't have to be Stevenson. It doesn't have to be Harris. But they're going to run the ball, and that's how they're going to try to win.
All right, we're going to move to...
and it's working.
Oh, we're going to go back to Atlanta, where the game was played tonight. The Patriots got
to Atlanta.
25-0 win over the Falcons in Atlanta in front of a lot of Patriots fans. Jordan, were you one of those fans? Did you go to the game, Jordan?
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely.
Nice.
And the last time I called into this show, I was actually in Foxborough when we played the Dolphins in the final game of the 2019 season, and I said the safety struggled against tight ends in that game. Jaceki won, back of the end zone, whatever that catch was. We played phenomenal against not only Pitts, but everybody they brought in. And Matthew Judon might be the best thing since sliced bread. I want to hear you guys' thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. We've been loving him all season long, and 10.5 sacks, a career high for him. So clearly he is, having just as good of a time as we are watching him play.
All right, we're going to step aside here. We are going to continue with more of your phone calls here and emails. Send them to webradio@patriots.com. We'll get to them here as the Patriots postgame show continues here. If you want more of that last-second interception that you keep thinking about and replaying in your head at AWS. They're bringing fans new data behind every epic pass, play, even fumble, stats with an unmatched pace of innovation. Technology is changing the game, and AWS can stat that. Learn more at aws.com/sports.
It all starts. It all starts now.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
That looks awful. Football's back and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
An active lifestyle means you never stop moving. That's why only Theragun devices are designed to release your body's deepest muscle tension, so you can do the things you love. You only have one body. Make it a TheraBody.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
What convinced him to monitor this?
Well, what he no,
I'm supposed to monitor this?
you.
I'm screening
You're
the
the
calls?
host.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Keep up the energy from Joe in Florida. Thanks for holding the fort in there tonight, gentlemen. Pat's got the win, sustained no injuries, and now have a weekend off to prepare for the Titans. Mission accomplished. 2 observations. He says, I thought Myers gained a first down at the end of the first half on a third down play, but they marked him short. Believe Myers landed on the defender and then rolled forward for the yard to gain. Should have been reviewed in the booth. Instead, the Pats settled for 3 points. If it was a first down, Pats had a timeout to use at 23 seconds left for a couple of shots at the end zone. Do you remember that play?
That was the clock management that I talked about. And I actually mentioned that it was close, and I think the Patriots may have been looking for a measurement there.
Okay. I don't remember the Myers.
It was close.
Measurement.
I never saw. They never showed a replay. Sometimes when you see slow motion, you can see that he actually caught it beyond the line and then came back. But it was definitely close. I thought that there was a chance for a measurement there. Yeah.
He also says my entertainment highlight was Trent Brown pulling and sprinting at some cornerback.
27. And the kid turned and went, ah!
The quarterback
don't hit me!
was setting a record on the back pedal for good reason.
Yeah.
We were talking about Trent Brown just as the game started, and just the sheer size of the man. It's just it is. In a game of huge men, he's so big. Yeah. He's just.
We compared it, and Hardy had the perfect comparison. It was Michael Orr in Blindside, the actor who played Michael Orr.
Right.
Not Michael Orr as a pro with Baltimore. The actor who played him in the movie was so much bigger than everybody else in the movie.
That's what
Trent Brown looks like
in
on
the
an
NFL
field.
Oh, that's great. All right, Colin in the Bay Area, you are next up. Patriots Postgame Show presented by Cyber Reason. What's up, Colin? Colin?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. There you are. What's up?
Hey, guys, I just wanted to say one thing. I thought it was like a great defensive game for sure, but when we were up 16-0, Mac threw that interception, any of you guys?
It was 13-0 when that happened.
Was it 13? I thought it was 16.
Yeah.
13-0. When he threw that interception, anybody worried when I thought like maybe a change of momentum?
No.
I'm always worried.
Okay, so
Mike is always worried, and I kind of never am. So, Hardy, how did you feel?
I was right in the middle. I thought, you know what, they score here, and it becomes interesting all over again. Now, there was nothing to indicate that Atlanta was going to be able to finish that off, and sure enough, they did not. But yeah, as we're sitting here, and Paul knows.
If they
gave the nod,
scored there, then I would say yes, game on. 13-7, game on.
But you still had given the nod.
I just didn't think there was any chance they were going to score. I was watching the rest of the game.
I know you are, but I just think, all right, well, maybe maybe they're going to feel something, or maybe they're going to get sparked. It's just
technically, you guys are right.
What do you guys think about Matt Ryan?
I think he's very good.
I think he's very good too.
He is. I didn't get all the talk this week of Mac Jones comp if like he was Matt Ryan. I saw a lot of that going around. I was like, of course. I mean, he's been a 10-year excellent NFL starter. I mean, you got to throw out the specifics of
Here's a
how
guy
his
that was
seasons
basically
have gone.
out there by himself tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so he just
When he
doesn't.
had Kyle Pitts, that's it.
Yeah, he just doesn't have anything else. He doesn't have a suitable offensive line.
And he's still
they don't
fighting
have
through
a,
injuries.
They don't have a running
and
game.
people are always like, well, he's had great weapons in the past. Yeah, and he won an MVP when he did that.
And he went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that he's the greatest player. I never have thought of him as one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But I've always thought of him as a pretty good player.
Yeah. If Mac Jones could achieve that level of play consistently for a decade, sign me up right now.
Bill in Bozeman says Nick Folk gets put on the good list before the game and promptly lives up to it.
As soon as he kicked that first field goal, we knew he was in.
Also on the good list, the whole defense again, especially Kyle Van Noy. We had all of that. So thank you. We are in lockstep. We'll go to Atlanta once again. Brandon is in Atlanta on the Patriots postgame. Brandon in Atlanta. Presented by Cyber Reason. Hi, Brandon. Hi.
To the farms.
Hey. So, I just got home from that Patriots home game.
Nice.
That was just a total domination. And, I mean, we were already 70-30 when we got there. But, when it was 19 or what was it? 19-0. It was really all Patriots fans then because the Falcons fans were just like, yeah, we've seen this before. We're gone. But, this was literally the greatest night of my life because, one, I've been a Patriots fan for 20-plus years, and I've lived in Atlanta for 20-plus years, so I rarely had a chance to see them, and this was my first time to see them. I had amazing seats, and, it just was the greatest night of my life, hands down.
Wow.
I do have a question, though. The last time we've lost was to Dallas, and our defense looked horrible. Is it that we fixed things, or was that just an anomaly?
That's the question.
We'll find out.
I think that's the question right there. I mean, that's an awesome offense that had a bunch of weapons that could spread you out. I mean, look at how the game ended with, Mills trying to cover CD Lamb. I mean, that those are
they haven't
the
played
kind of
that kind of offense since. Mike broke it all down.
Yeah.
Earlier.
So, let's talk after after Buffalo with Sanders and all of their weapons, Beasley and Diggs,
and that's the best part is you really don't see those kinds of offenses because Tennessee's a really, really good team, but they don't have that kind of offense.
No, it's not the same.
And the Colts are a pretty good team. They don't have that kind of offense.
No.
It's it's just Buffalo, and really Buffalo's one-dimensional. They don't run the ball.
Right. And I mean, just I'm seeing right now playoff seeding. If it were to happen right now, you're going to Kansas City week 1. So
Brandon, I'm glad you had a great night.
They might not want me to focus on accentuate that on Monday.
Maybe not.
No.
Well, that's the 2-part article. We'll do.
That's more of an off-air conversation.
Stefan in Germany says, typical sloppy Thursday night game, but the win is the thing.
Yep.
And Mac was better than Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Tonight?
Yeah.
He had a running game.
Yes.
He had a running game, and he had some receivers that caught his passes.
Yeah. But it's funny, for as bad as that game was from Atlanta, I didn't think Matt Ryan was terrible tonight. I think he plays for a terrible team.
Yeah, I thought he made one bad throw, and that was the throw that went off of Zacchaeus' hands right to J.C. Jackson for the pick.
He said the offense didn't fire on all cylinders. Again, maybe a point of contention for Paul. But the defense pitched a shutout with 4 picks. What more can you ask? And this is maybe the best point. What more can you ask for from a rookie-led team on a short week?
Yeah.
And I think that's the main takeaway.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah. Well, I have nothing to – you thought I would argue with that?
I think you would argue with whether or not the offense is firing on all cylinders, which I'm –
Not tonight, but the last game they did.
Yeah, and –
But 4 for 12 on third down. That to me was like the epitome of Thursday night. Thursday night football at its worst.
I think where you and I disagree is how much room there is for the offense to get better. I think they've got a little higher ceiling maybe than you do.
Yeah, probably.
That's it.
And it comes down. Well, we can.
I don't know what I don't know what Deuce thinks because it's offense and he doesn't really care.
I don't pay attention during that. But it does feel to me right now kind of not as extreme as the preseason ending, but it feels like this was kind of the first act of this season, and we saw, all right, they've got a good team, they can play, they're tough, you've gotten the pieces to come together, And now over these next 4 games, we're really going to find out who it is. What's their ceiling? How good is this defense against some more varied type offenses? Certainly, they're going to need to stop the run here in these next 4 games. That's a huge part, and that could get them 2 out of 4 wins. Just being good against the run. Stop Tennessee, take that out of their game, as well as Jonathan Taylor at Indy, who's awesome too. So. Still a part of it, but here it comes. Like these 4 games, this is it. This is the real season.
All right. Chris in Orlando. Hello, Chris. Welcome into the Patriots Postgame Show presented by Cyber Reason. Hi,
How are you guys?
Good.
Big fan. Just got a couple quick questions here for you guys. Just want to hear your thoughts. So when the Falcons got down, in the red zone, and they were, seemed like they were moving the ball. I was at the game, even in Atlanta now. I'm just from Orlando. That's what I put. If they kick that field goal, they make it. How does that change the game? If they don't get that, illegal formation, does that change the game in any aspect? Do they get any momentum there? And how do you think the Patriots would have bounced back?
I don't know if I want to give them.
They had enough in the tank.
It does change the game in that the next time they get down there and it's 4th down, they can kick a field goal and make it 13-6, and maybe the game is still on at that point. You miss the first one, and then the second time you get down there, you can't kick a field goal.
You have to go for it on 4th down.
You have to go for it on 4th down.
Okay.
So
okay.
I think the game. I quite honestly, I think they probably win the game 19-6 if that happens. I'm not going to presume that all the interceptions happen, but
all right. And I hear all this talk about Judon and whatnot. I personally, when we signed him, I thought he was overpaid. But what are you guys' thoughts? Do you guys think he's overperformed, or how do you guys think he's performed this year?
I will be the first to admit I was not a Matthew Judon expert before he joined the team. I knew he was a good player, and I knew him from highlights essentially. I think it's worth every penny that he's getting paid, and I guess I would have to say he exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, me too.
Because at no point in the preseason did I say, the guy that we're going to end up talking about more often than not after games through 11 weeks is Matthew Judon. No, I would not have said
I'll tell
that.
you what I fell victim to.
I would have said
I'm going to surprise you guys. Pro Football Focus told us that it was the worst free agent signing. Yeah. And he wasn't he was one of the lowest rated, at all the things that he did. And I don't know why, because I so often mock and ridicule that stuff. And I don't know why I put so much stock into it, but I was worried that he was going to be a bust. And I was wrong.
I don't ever really remember him being a big factor against the Patriots in games they played against Baltimore.
I watched a lot of Baltimore games, and he always was sort of he's on the Ravens. Marlon Humphrey, every time I saw Baltimore play, was making plays.
Yeah.
I never really remember Matthew Judon. I always thought he was sort of a real workman-like, set-the-edge, physical guy, which is exactly what he's been.
Yeah.
For the Patriots.
To Rob in Australia we go. Hello, Rob. Thanks for calling into the postgame show. What's up?
Good evening, boys. How are you?
Good.
Good
day,
tired. I just wanted to, I'm sure you guys are tired. I wanted to make one comment, ask a couple stupid questions. The first comment I wanted to make was...
come to the right place.
Who's that guy, Brandon, in Oregon? Because I think he's the only one who predicted a shutout in this game. I didn't see that coming. And then the questions I wanted to ask you guys, and I'll take these off the air. So, Paul and Mike, which Patriots uniform of all time would you pair with Matthew Judon's red sleeves?
Oh.
And then, Hardy, a question for you.
Yeah.
Which is worse, Grown Ups 1 or Grown Ups 2?
I will.
Oh, 2 is really abysmal.
Yeah, I'll take the second question first, Rob. Grown Ups 2 is worse because they thought it could be saved by a Shaquille O'Neal cameo. It's like, what we'll do? We'll dress him up as a cop and we'll have him dance. And again, that's just the sign of any
Pure
bad
comedy.
movie.
Right.
Let's throw in a random dance scene here where the character dances. And again, it's funny. We're all laughing here on the set. The camera guy is laughing. We're all laughing. It's not funny to anyone else. It may have been funny to you guys when you were shooting it, but you really weren't concerned with what the product was going to be. It's a bad product, and what makes it really truly criminal is that all guys involved with it are capable of being funny on their own, whether it's Sandler or David Spade, any of them.
Don't say Rob Schneider.
No, yeah, I
He's
don't
the
know.
worst.
Yeah, he's, well.
That's another Deuce Hollywood tip. Rob Schneider's the worst.
Wow. Yeah, but take that one to your
Yeah.
friends there in Australia.
1
Rob.
a.m.
All right, thanks, buddy. Oh, did you want to hang on for the uniform answer? Hold
Yeah,
on. Do you have a uniform answer?
Yeah, I think I've talked about this. The late 70s uniforms are my favorites.
Yeah. What about like the white ones?
Yeah, the white
With
ones
the
with those red sleeves would be perfect.
Hot.
Yeah.
Hot stuff.
that'd be good.
1978
That'd be good.
uniforms.
So I'll Google that one now. Hey, you boys be safe driving home. Okay.
Thanks, Rob. We will. You know what also bugs me, too, about the whole grown-ups thing is that Sandler has to portray himself as the most successful guy with the hot wife.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
his friends are, for the most part, a bunch of jerks who, lie about how much money they have, or they've got the, the ugly wives or whatever. It's like, it's so obvious. And they just show up and do it anyway. Yeah, I'll play that guy because it's kind of like that in real life, right, buddy? Right, Mike? Right, Spike?
Sandler,
you said it.
Is Sandler's like the straight man? I've never seen these movies. Sandler's like the straight guy then in the movie, and everybody else are the wacky, weird character kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're all childhood friends, and then they go off and they do their own things. And Hardy nails it. Like, he's this successful agent, and he's rich, and his wife is Salma Hayek, who's gorgeous, and she's a very successful fashion designer.
Yeah.
And all the other friends.
And Kevin James lies about how much money he has and rents a Cadillac to make everyone else think that he's doing well.
Right.
I'm gonna rent it tonight. I'm gonna watch
But
it.
isn't
I'm not
Maria
going to bed.
Bello is his wife, though, isn't she? She's not bad.
Oh, my God.
No.
I don't know, but it's just it's ridiculous.
And Chris Rock is married to Maya Rudolph. Also, Maya Rudolph, sign of comedy desperation. Anytime she shows up and starts mugging for the camera.
Not funny?
Not funny.
I agree.
Not funny.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
Hey,
how dare you?
That's a little hurtful.
We're doing a comprehensive breakdown of the movie Grown Ups because a caller asked us to do it.
And just so you know, we may have broken a post-game record for phone calls tonight, despite the fact that we played in primetime on a Thursday.
A shutout game, not a great football game on a Thursday night, and we took more calls tonight than in any post-game in recent
Well, I
memory.
think we primed it with the pre-show. We were talking about grown-ups, and then we just carried that
Yeah.
momentum right through the game, and now we're here in the post-game.
And not that premise has to be a big deal, but the fact that these guys are all reuniting because a guy who coached them when they were 10 years old for his summer camp basketball team has just, forged this bond between these guys.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, he died.
spoiler alert. Yeah. And they all come back together for it's like, hey, Deuce, what was the name of your basketball coach at summer camp when you were 10 years old?
Mr. Sansoni.
Oh, shut up.
didn't
That's
play
not
basketball.
a true thing.
Well, 7th grade CYO.
Not 7th grade is
I
not
didn't-
10 years old.
I didn't go to camp. Well, I was 13.
But CYO.
If he died, would you go visit
Christian Youth Organization?
Yeah, YMCA.
No,
Yeah, we had
YMCA.
CYO.
What are you, a heathen?
Yeah, we had the CYO.
Yeah,
What, is my religion not good enough for you?
I had the Boys and Girls Club.
Uh-huh.
I was flag football champion
Michigan.
right here. That's right. The Auburn Heights Boys and Girls Club before they got all schmancy and went to Auburn Hills.
Oh,
they changed the
Heights,
name of the
Hills?
town. They changed the name
really?
of the town for when they put the palace in. Yeah, it's
Ah.
true. It was Auburn Heights.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there you go. Can we be done?
We got 10 minutes.
Okay, we can do 10 minutes.
10, 11 minutes.
All right.
So, Patriots.
I would like to see football. I would like to see Harris and Stevenson in the formation at the same time. It's been a while since they ran that formation with running backs. Your thoughts? Dual running back thoughts from David? What are your thoughts?
I kind of like the way Jakob Johnson was blocking tonight.
The Yak with his crimson tide colored hair, he was blocking well. There's always an infatuation with the two running back sets with Rex and White was one and
Stop it right there. You could say there's always an infatuation with
whatever
they're not doing.
Yeah.
There's
Getting
always an
Jonnu Smith
infatuation
involved.
with whatever they're not doing currently.
Yeah. Yeah. But what if it's been great, but what if they did
What if they got
X?
Jonnu Smith? Like, Hunter Henry has 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, what if we had Jonnu Smith? Like, then you'd have another guy. Like,
I'm glad you brought up Jakob Johnson.
he was good tonight.
Valerian.
They kept profiling him.
Yes.
And Troy was talking about some of the blocks he was making at the point of attack.
Fullback talk. Let's go.
Valerian starts off by saying, "Thank you. You convinced me to get a Theragun Mini from my parents for Christmas. That would make a good gift."
It is. It's quality.
And yeah. But as for the game, I'd say that Jakob Johnson was sneaky good. He was blowing up defenders all game. Commentators, at least, were gushing over his blocking, as you just said. And I'd have to agree with him. Definitely worth consideration for the good list. Should we put him on a late ad?
Yeah, late ad.
Yeah, everybody. Hug a cop.
Yeah, I said it.
I got
just
him.
Felt like it was coming.
I got him with one.
What about Jacoby? I thought Jacoby.
Fred the Dorfman.
I thought Jacoby had a pretty good game too. He's it's not a lot of volume like it was kind of early, but I think he continues to come up with some key plays. I think he might have had that first down, but it goes back to the other caller too of like do you really want somebody to obviously key on? Like, does that make your offense good? I feel like.
Well, I think it makes everybody else better when you have that guy. So I'm not saying I don't want that guy.
But if you got somebody pulling coverage and pulling attention away.
Yeah. He marked it real good.
Bourne. And what was up with Bourne going down? Like, I just got to bring that up one last time since we're
God.
But like, there were 2 times he could have easily gone one more yard and just picked up the first down and didn't. And I don't know. It's just, I love the guy. I love what he's been doing, but I hate those little plays where it's like.
Well, one of the times he may have taken him out of bounds and he was trying to stay in bounds, but as Paul pointed out, and actually I think Aikman pointed it out pretty quickly too. Actually, you know what? If you go out of bounds but you pick up the first down as you're going out, you accomplish the same thing. You end the game.
And they ended up not getting the first down.
Yeah.
Right.
Then they didn't get the first down on third down.
So it's
now it didn't matter because it was 16-0 at the time, so the game was over anyway. But
very nitpicky.
Yeah.
How many unfortunately, the score has happened 10 times in the past, the 25-0.
Yeah.
We knew that. But Eric wants to know, how many times has a backup quarterback come out, thrown a pick, and then on the next play, the third-string guy comes in and throws another pick?
Since 2000.
What's that?
It hasn't happened since 2000 where 3 different quarterbacks in the same team threw a pick in the same game.
But on consecutive plays, pick, and then the next guy comes out and throws another pick?
That's a good question. That's another whole level of it,
well,
which
get into it.
I'm not sure.
You got your
I don't have
typewriter television in front of you.
Wherewithal
Sure you do.
Research this at this juncture.
You have to use the Google machine. Let's go to West Virginia. Tim says it's time to go home.
Yeah.
God, I wish that were true. Timmy, what do you know that we don't?
No, you guys just spent way too much time talking about grown-ups, too. Make sure you're alert for your drive home.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. Wow,
sweet.
that's good.
That's
Hit
nice.
and run. I like that.
The fans.
Oh, man.
The fans are worried about us.
They are. Well, Paul's just walking around the corner to the hodl.
Yeah, that's how Paul's got the shortest drive for once tonight.
I'm staying on campus.
Andrew in Hawaii. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, gentlemen, how we doing?
Very good.
Hanging
Thank
in.
you.
Exhausted.
I'll be quick here so you guys can get out of there and head home. But I got to call Paul out real quick.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm a big fan of the show during the week of PU, and I heard Paul make the comment that J.C. Jackson's kind of just another cornerback.
I did not say
I
that.
think, Paul, you made the statement that we can find a J.C. Jackson.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
draft
you
and
can.
let him walk.
But I didn't say he's a
20
jag.
interceptions through 56 games. He's allowed 2 catches over the last 3 games. To me, we got to re-sign this guy. He doesn't grow on trees.
Let me make a deal with you then. If they don't re-sign him, I want you to call up and rip Bill Belichick. Can you do that?
That's not true, but I think there's a middle ground where you got to admit J.C. Jackson is a number 1 cornerback and somebody we shouldn't just let walk.
I don't think he's a number 1 cornerback. I don't think he's a number 1 cornerback.
The numbers kind of back up that fact, though. He's locked down opponent's number 1 receivers, and he's made plays.
Who do you lock down tonight?
He's been here.
Who was the number 1 receiver he locked down tonight?
Yes, I mean, against the Falcons, you can't really say that, but you got to feel good about J.C. Jackson and his matchup going into every game. And without him, really, at that point, who do we have? So to me,
those are different arguments. I want to see. I'm going to state my point up front. I don't wait for it to happen before I state my point. I want you to tell me that you will call up and rip Bill Belichick if he doesn't re-sign him?
I will rip him if they let him walk at a reasonable price. Obviously, I know Bill's not going to overpay for a guy.
Okay, so
but it's time to give
I'm
the
going
guy a little more
okay,
credit
so
than
I
just a
want
run-of-the-mill
also up
quarterback.
front. I want to know what overpay is. What is overpaying him? If he's a number one corner, like you say, that's $20 million a year.
Yeah, it's 18
to 20 million.
They got $24 million cap space next year right now.
So if you say that he is a number one corner and Bill doesn't sign him to a deal and someone else gives him 18 to 20 million, I want you to call up and rip him.
I want you to admit that the Patriots can't sign another J.C. Jackson easily in the draft like you made it sound like, especially, given the Patriots' history trying to draft cornerbacks. We can't just let this guy walk.
I'm not telling you
hard
that
push
the
to re-sign
Patriots
him.
will
That's
be
all
able
I'm
to
saying.
do it. I'm saying there are a lot of guys like J.C. Jackson in the league. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if the Patriots are going to be able to get one. I never said that. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. That's all.
Okay.
All right,
Fine.
Andrew,
We'll agree to
thanks.
Disagree. I love you, Paul.
I love you too. That was a good argument.
That was
This
fun.
is-
Everybody was on their good behavior, and that was fun.
I'm too tired
Yeah,
to
yeah.
really get into it with my heart.
But he still has the six shooter though. He still, even though he's a little tired, he can still pull it. But
He's got a-
I'll say this:
cock it with one hand.
Well, those are my two things. When Bill doesn't do it, I want you to rip him. And when the Patriots beat Buffalo, I want you to say it was a nothing win because Buffalo sucks.
This
Right?
is a preview of every show in early February, right here. This is exactly what's going to be happening on your show too.
Buffalo
Everybody talking
sucks.
this.
Everybody tells me. Bill Simmons has told me for a week that the Bills stink. So when the Patriots beat them, I don't want to hear people peacock about the Patriots and how great that win is.
Okay.
Because the Bills stink.
Okay.
That's what you tell me.
I know.
I, over here, will tell you if the Patriots beat Buffalo, I will be very impressed if they go out and beat Buffalo because I think Buffalo's a pretty good team.
All right.
But you,
you
are not allowed to do that. You, Hardy.
I don't know how this turned into me getting yelled at. I'm so tired.
No, have you not heard that? In all seriousness,
I have.
Put my snark away for a second. Have you not heard that a lot the last couple of weeks?
Well, I've heard, and quite frankly, when you lose to Jacksonville 9-6, I start to question how good you are too.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So then let's not give the Patriots much credit for beating a team they should beat then.
Well, I don't want to do that. I still want to give them credit.
I will.
Okay.
I will give them credit because I think Buffalo's good.
Okay.
Me too.
You
I think
they had a bad
Buffalo's a
game
good team.
against
They had a
Jacksonville.
terrible game.
Okay. All right.
Like the Patriots had a terrible game against Miami. These things happen.
Would your franchise J.C. Jackson? I know we've talked about it before.
I would not.
Deuce?
I would not.
Okay.
If I could get him to sign a deal, that I'd be interested in that. But
I wouldn't hate franchising him.
I think he's gone.
Oh, one more year. If they can't figure anything else out.
I could see that. But again, I mean, and I know these numbers are rough, but $24 million, that's what they got in cap space right now. They can mess with it, but just a general kind of overview.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of wiggle room next year.
So is that counting like all of the pending free agents being off the books?
Yes, correct. So, yeah, I mean, it's relative. You're taking off everybody, but still, I mean, it's not. Oh, hey, we got $60 million or like whatever it was last year. Where
I don't care about.
You knew
cap
things
space.
were going to happen.
Cap space is irrelevant, as you know, Hardy. This isn't the NHL that actually has a cap.
Cap is crap. That's one thing I do.
Agree with me on?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
No, cap it. This.
It's too late.
I thought there was going to be a late fight right there.
Thank God it wasn't.
Casey in Toronto will be our final call, and we got a few more emails to get to when we come back and wrap things up here on the Patriots Postgame Show.
Attacks requires seeing in the dark, understanding and ending every threat to your organization on computers, mobile, and the cloud. It takes cyber reason. End cyber attacks from endpoints to everywhere.
Football's back, and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
An active lifestyle means you never stop moving. That's why only Theragun devices are designed to release your body's deepest muscle tension, so you can do the things you love. You only have one body. Make it a TheraBody.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I always go, how long they've been on hold. Really? What a methodology.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Oh, that was nice. Right in key. Casey in Toronto, final call of the night on the Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cyber Reason. What's up, Casey? Casey?
You got this.
All right.
Well, that's the
Casey?
That stinks.
That's it. All right. Can we be honest? Cody in Indiana emails in. I know Paul was really high on Jonnu Smith this past offseason, and I definitely bought into it. Having said that, though, at what point do we start considering him a bust? I mean, he's better than Matt Lacoste. Sorry, Deuce.
Well, yeah, but he hasn't been great. He hasn't provided much.
No.
Just kind of continuing to wait. It's like, when is it going to happen? When's it going to happen? All right. This was a lot of fun tonight, gentlemen. Love the Thursday night games.
Hats off to the listeners, by the way, for giving us a lot of calls tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Matt LePan said it's the most phone calls he can remember fielding and screening and taking in a long time on a Thursday night game. So you guys made this a great post-game show tonight. So thank you. And thank you, Cyber Reason, for presenting this post-game show. And thank you to
thank you, Mr. Acavano.
Kyle Duggar, who called in.
King Doug.
Wow. Great stuff. Patriots moved to 7-4 on the season with the 20. I'm not going to do it yet. With the big win tonight on the road in Atlanta. Almost caught myself.
Do it.
No. Hey, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We'll see you next weekend. Yeah.
See you a
we
week
won't be
from
back
Sunday.
until after Thanksgiving.
Have a safe trip.
How
safe
about
travels with all your COVID tests and vaccinations and masks and whatever you got to go through.
I might not leave my couch between now and then.
Oh, my God. That sounds pretty good right about now. Thanks to everybody involved in the postgame show. Final score for the final time. Atlanta 0 and the Patriots 25. Thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.